Hello class, this is Dr. Valenzuela, and I wanted to work through our Module 5 assignment. I know this is a really big assignment, so it's something that you will want to start working on um, early in the week because there is a lot of technical requirements for this assignment. The assignment I'm talking about is the 5-3 assignment, test of a hypothesis. And what I did is I put all the previous videos that I developed for all the prior projects in our announcement. So in the week 5 announcement, you're going to see that I listed the week 2 video I developed for the week 2 project. I have my video for the week 3 project here as well, and the week 4 project. Okay. And then I'll also include this video in the week 5 announcement. You'll find it listed right under here. But all these videos will help you with all the technical elements of this week 5 project. But I'm going to walk through it with you because there's a lot of technical requirements for it. So I'm going to click on the requirements and rubric. Remember that when I grade your assignment, I'm going to use this rubric here. Okay, so the grading rubric will look at the setup, the data analysis preparations, the calculations, the test decision, conclusion, okay? And then I will also be looking at, these are all the specifics under each category. So here's the setup, what's required, the data analysis, these are the elements required, calculations, these are the elements required, the test decision here, and the conclusion, okay? Remember, the conclusion has to be in one paragraph or more in your analysis. Now, your assignment has to be submitted using the Word document template. Okay, and here's the Module 5 assignment Word document template right here. Okay, you just click on that, it'll open up, and you will use this requirement. Now remember, after you read the instructions, okay, I'm gonna try to move this down here. Okay, you have to click on Enable Editing. Once you use the instructions and review them, remove the instructions in the bracket. Just delete them, okay? I don't want all the brackets in here. Okay. Now, so everything here listed in these instructions must be included in the Word template, okay? Remember that I'm only going to be grading the Word template. So if you submit Excel files and other files, remember those aren't part of the grading. I'll be grading what you include in the Word template. So everything listed here must be included in the Word template. Now, what you'll find here as you do the setup, you define your population parameter. You have to define the null and alternative hypothesis. Now, if you go to the week 5 announcement, you will find some resources here. Well, in my week 5 lecture videos, if you click on that, there are videos that you should watch before you even start this assignment, like what is hypothesis testing, okay? T-test for one sample, okay? There's a two-tailed test, what is hypothesis testing video, and then null and alternative hypothesis. So all these videos in my week 5 lecture videos are really important to understand this assignment. So review these videos before you start the assignment. They'll help you better understand what is going to be required. And then again, those will be under the week 5 video lectures here. Going back to the instructions. Okay, so write the null and alternative hypothesis. So first, let's go back here to my week 5 announcement. I'm going to get rid of these videos. Okay, so here's the announcement. Notice I've also included these right and left tail null and alternative hypotheses. This is a really good resource for you. And it'll give you some examples on how to set up null and alternative hypothesis. Okay. Here's a good example, example 2. Okay. So at one school, the average amount of time that 10th graders spend watching television is 18.4 hours. Okay. Here, this mu, this is the symbol mu. Looks like a U, but it's a Greek alphabet letter called mu, mu. And mu is the mean amount of time the 10th graders spend watching TV. So the null hypothesis in this case is mu equals 18.4 hours. The principal introduces a campaign to encourage students to watch less television. 1 year later, the principal wants to perform hypothesis tests to determine whether the average amount of time spent watching TV per week has increased. Okay. When you see the increase or the greater than, okay, so first let me back up. The alternative hypothesis, this is the null hypothesis, the mu equals 18.4. The alternative hypothesis is H sub A, alternative hypothesis is mu is greater than 18.4 because he wants to see if it has increased. Now, if you're using this greater than, okay, this becomes a right-tailed test that you're going to use. Okay, if you see if you're using a less than in the alternative hypothesis, it is a left-tailed test that you'll be using. Okay, so we need that background there to look at this assignment here. So you've been hired in a regional real estate company to help them analyze real estate data. One of the company's Pacific region salesperson just returned to the office. It states that the average cost per square foot of his home is above the average cost per square foot in the Pacific region. It states the average cost per square foot of his home sales is above the average cost per square foot in the Pacific region. He wants you to make sure he can make that statement before approving the use of the advertisement. The average cost per square foot of his home sales is $275. Okay. In order to test the claim, you collect the sample of 1001 home sales for the Pacific region. Okay. Got it. Okay, so in the advertisement, one of the company's Pacific region salespeople just returned to the office with a newly designed advertisement. It states that the average cost per square foot of his home sales is above the average cost per square foot in the region. Okay. So then the average cost per square foot of his home sales is $275. So he wants to make sure he can make the statement before approving the use of his advertisement. Okay. So if we look at, the setup of this, it's going to be similar to this one here, this example 2 here. And if I use similar setup, If I use a similar setup, okay, so I'm just going to copy this here. Okay, and let's look at the, okay, so you have to still define your, you obviously have to do your introduction. You have to define your population parameter, write the null and alternative hypothesis. Remember, the sales believes that his sales are higher. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use that example that I just copied, okay, for the null and alternative. So the mean here I'm going to use is the average cost per square foot of home sales. Is the average cost of average cost per square foot of his home sales. Oops, go back. Sorry. Cost per square foot of home sales. Average cost per home sales. Okay. And then so the null hypothesis would be that it would be equal to 275. Okay, that's the null. Oops. And then that the alternative of that it is greater than 275. That the mean is, or the average is greater than 275. Okay. Now because we're using a greater than symbol here, we're going to be using a right tail test. Okay. Okay. So remember, you still have to, in this project, do all these bulleted elements here. I'm just sort of giving you the highlights of the technical elements. So remember, you still need to complete every element, every bullet point here. Okay. I'm just sort of walking you through what is required in this project. Okay. So write the null alternative hypothesis. Okay. Specify the name of the test you will use to identify whether there's a left or right-tailed, two-tailed test. Okay, so we will get into the test itself a little later, and we'll talk about that. But as I mentioned, the reason we're using a right-tailed test, and you can use this for this part of the analysis here, and you could say the reason for the use of a right-tailed test is because you have the greater than symbol in the alternative hypothesis. Okay, and that would satisfy this part of this element here. Oops, go back there. Okay, now remember, provide the descriptive statistics of the sample. Okay, so you need to describe the sample, you need to describe the statistics. Remember that for this portion, you need to use, so you will use data analysis in Excel under descriptive statistics. And then you will copy that output from Excel into this section right here. Okay. So you need to do data analysis, use descriptive statistics, copy the output into this. Now, before we get any further, okay, let's go back here. It says you collected a sample of 1,001 home sales. Okay. Use the home listing price by region. Okay. Notice there's information about descriptive statistics in Excel, creating histograms. Remember that I covered using descriptive statistics in Excel as well. But if you click on here, there's instructions on descriptive statistics. I also covered it. If you remember, I covered using descriptive statistics in my week 2 video here, which you can find on your week 5 announcement. And creating histograms in Excel, okay, there's instructions here, but remember that if you go to the week 5 announcement, the lecture videos on statistics with Excel, just click here. And you can use, watch these videos here. Again, in this section, I've also talked about using data analysis in Excel and descriptive statistics, but also I talk about in these videos, there's videos on doing histograms in Excel. Okay, so this is a good video to use to develop your histogram. Okay, let's go back to the instructions. So you're going to be using this document here, Excel document, for the data. Okay. Okay. Now, let's go back because it says here that you collect a sample of 1,001 home sales for the region. Okay. Now, here's the 1,001 home sale prices for the region. Okay. Well, let's just say it's 1,001. Well, it is 1,001 home sales for the region. Okay. What we are going to do with the data is, because I am, oops, get rid of that one. We're only interested in the average cost per square foot of home sales. Okay, the average cost per square foot of home sales. Okay, average cost. Okay, we're going to come over here. Okay, mean value. Okay, the cost per square foot. That's this column here. So what I'm going to do is I'm only going to use this cost per square foot column. Okay. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to get rid of some of these other data elements. So this one, I'm going to do right click and delete. And I'm going to go up here, do right click and delete. So I only want this one here. Okay. Now, what I want you to do is we're not going to do the whole 1,000 samples. We're going to do a subsample of it, okay? And this is something in statistics that is very important, is that when you're looking at these populations, obviously, let's say you look at the United States, there's 300, let's say there's 370 million people in the United States. We can't sample all 370 million data elements, okay, if we're looking at the population. So we're going to do a subsample. And that's what I'm going to have you do here is let's just pick, you know, 50 data elements, So I'm only going to pick, 50. So I'm going to go from 5 to 55, okay, here, okay. So let's just pick those data elements. Then I'm going to come down here. I'm going to highlight all this. And I'm just going to get rid of all these that I don't want. Okay. And it's taken a while, but we will get to the very bottom here soon. Okay. Then I'm going to do a right click, in my case, a left click. I'm going to delete entire rows here. There. Okay, so I've got 50 random data elements. Let's just say they're random. I randomly picked them. Okay, so there's this, so when you define your population, that is part of the analysis, is that I'm randomly selecting 50 out of the 1,001 home sales for the Pacific region, okay? So that's sort of what I'm doing here, is I'm taking a subsample of the bigger sample. That's so the population you can think of as the bigger 1,001 home sales, and then the sample is the 50 randomly sampled data elements that I picked. Now, when you do your histogram, okay, you're going to do the histogram using this column of data, cost per square foot. Okay, this is what you're going to do the histogram from, this element here. Okay. Okay. You're going to do it from this column right here. And again, you're going to use the lecture videos doing statistics with Excel from my week 5 announcement. Okay, you'll click on it and you're going to use this video, creating a histogram in Microsoft, okay, to do your histogram. Okay, then okay, so you're going to complete all these other sections. Now, what we're going to do here is, let's go back to the instructions and uh,